Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to a short video that I've decided to record, which is all around hiring the best people post-COVID. Okay, so yes, we're a recruitment firm. Yes, if you are looking to hire, we want you to use us. But if you're not, let's see if we can give you some tips, some insights, or anything else that you might be able to put into practice. And this video has kind of been a year in the making. You can imagine how many people I speak to on a daily basis over the last year, the amount of people that have been working from home. My phone's gone a little bit crazy. So I've been making notes and researching what do applicants want, what are they looking for, and therefore what can firms do to make sure that they're attracting the best people. Now, I'm joined today by our internal talent manager, so Sinitta Callman. Sinitta, thank you for joining us. So Sinitta is responsible for attracting people to Alexander Lloyd. She is responsible for our training program, our social media. So she's a great person to have on today, and hopefully between the two of us, we're going to share some good insights and some good tips for you to take on board. And a lot of this is driven by quite a few kind of HR-based articles that I've read over the last couple of months. I'll share them with this video, but there was one particular one by the Harvard Business Review, which talks about the war for talent post-COVID. What do firms need to do to make sure that they are getting the best people out there? So Sin, if you wouldn't mind, kind of kick us off. What do you feel on a grand scale? What is the key things that companies need to be doing on things like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, all these other kind of websites to be able to be selling themselves to the wider market?
I think before we just used to go onto LinkedIn, advertise our job and that be that. But now it's so much more than that. You need to expose your company culture, talk about your soft perks, let people really know what you're like as a business, how the employees within your business feel working for you, and just giving a bit more of an insight into what you stand for, your vision and values, and how other people can fit to that. So, talk about relevant things. Don't just, say we're looking for a, pensions administrator and that be the end of it. Tell us what this pension administrator can do within your business. How can they grow within your business? What you can do for them and things like that, to just really give them a feel for what your company is actually like.
Yeah, fantastic point. And I think this is where a lot of firms kind of fall short, where they don't embrace things like LinkedIn. As you can imagine, we live on it. So we found out all the kind of nuances to it when it comes to searching and when it comes to finding people that they particularly want to be found. We are a corporate partner of LinkedIn as well, but a lot of firms don't kind of maximize it. You look at their kind of company profile page and there's very, very little information on there.
Yeah.
So we're directing people to that. We're directing people to look at the company on LinkedIn, look at their current vacancies. On LinkedIn, you can look at their turnover over the last kind of 12 to 24 months. You can look at key members of staff. Likewise, if you've got a group of senior managers, directors, the people that are going to be conducting the interviews, push them to put some detail on their LinkedIn profile. If it just says job title and an employment date, that's not giving anyone, anything to go off if they're preparing for an interview. But if there's stuff on the company page that talks about awards and achievements and celebrations that they've had, likewise, if you look at the head of pensions and it's a note there on, all right, won this award from the PMI, and this is some charity work that we do, and these are my key skills, and this is some key projects I've worked on, it just adds that bit of a sell, doesn't it?
100%. No, I couldn't agree with you more there. Yeah.
But when we distribute this, I'm going to be targeting some key people that we have worked with, we've had a relationship with in the past. And I can imagine there's probably a few people watching this thinking, yeah, but I'm not in charge of our marketing. I'm not in charge of the LinkedIn page. I'm the pensions manager or the benefits director or whatever it may be. So what about individual hiring managers, especially at the interview stage? What do you constantly push us at Alexander Lloyd to do that you think other people should be doing as well?
I think the big one for me in interviews is the proof is in the pudding. So I can sit there as the internal recruiter and sell you the dream. That is my job at the end of the day. But if I can, as you know, I brought you into interviews and I'll say, right, you know, Tom Martin, meet blah, blah, blah. You have a very similar profile. Tell them about your time at Alexander Lloyd. Tell them about your experiences. You'll both probably relate to each other in terms of your profiles. And then I'll just leave the room and let that be. Like, I think it's really important that we start seeing that an interview isn't just for us to find out if that potential employee is good for the role. It's also to see if we're great for them. So sell the business, you know, talk to them about training, what training they want, what training you provide, and what you're willing to help them get to. Talk to them about progression. Here's a profile. This is where they started at the level you're at now. This is what it would look like for you to get to here, and this is how long it's taken them. Like, actually show them actual case studies of what people in the business have already done, so they can see that how tangible it is to get to where they want to get in their career, and also be able to ask people within the business how they did it, how easy was it, what, you know, what have you found hard, what have you found good, and, you know, really get a feel for, you know, them potentially being there.
Yeah. No, and Sin, you are fantastic at doing this, and I think anyone who's watching, you know, should, if it's not something you do already,
yeah,
you know, please take it on board. You know, when I first got into recruitment, you always talk about kind of preparing a candidate, and obviously you prep the candidate for the interview. But I've always found the best recruiters, the ones that I've really enjoyed working with, and perhaps our most successful recruiters over the years, are the ones that kind of prep the client, and maybe not as transactional as how you would prep a candidate, but it's that, you know, I'm constantly feeding information to a client.
Yeah.
Right? They've seen this on your company page. They're going to want to know about this. They're going to want to know about your story. They're going to want to know about, you know, what kind of progression is on offer. They're leaving your competitor down the road because your competitor can't offer them the progression. But talk is cheap. Go through kind of how. Don't just sit there and say, yeah, we can be flexible. Yeah, you can work from home. No bother. Yeah, we'll promote you. It's that how. You know, well, we're looking at doing this kind of flexibility. These are some of the projects that we're working on. I appreciate there's some stuff you won't be able to go into detail on. You could at least just give that kind of top level summary of that once in the role, this is what you could be doing, you know, and after 12 months, this is what you should be looking at 18, you know, 36 months, however further down the line, this is where you should see your career going. And whether it's on Teams or Zoom or back in person, get someone to join. Get one of their kind of would-be peers to kind of sit there and leave the room. Let them talk openly. You know, if it just adds so much value, and there's only so much that we can do as recruiters. And that's not me making excuses. You know, at the end of the day, you can't fill every job. It'd be lovely if we did. You know, and we can't close every offer. But you know, it doesn't half make it easier if the interview has been two-way. Do you know what I mean? If it's just an interrogation, tell us about you, tell us about this job, tell us about this bullet point on your CV. Why do you want to work here? You know, it's just, no one's going to come away from that thinking, I really want to work there. They want to ask their questions. They want to get to know about what specifically you're going to offer. So
I just think an interviewer needs to remember that you're trying to build a relationship in that interview, and that if you want that person to accept at the end, you have to make sure that you've done everything to make sure that that person has had a really great experience and journey throughout the interview process, not that they've just sold themselves to you and then you think, oh, right, I'll offer you a job and see if you'll take it, because that won't last.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, you know, we get it. We get candidates to ring us as soon as the interview's over. Let's have a debrief. And you can almost tell quite instantly, you know, if they want the job or not. You know, there's some that are a little bit unsure. There's some that want to sleep on it. There's some that want to mull it over. But on the whole, there are people that come off that. And I've had quite a few people over the years say, you know, Tom, get me that job. I want that job. That job's perfect. And likewise, we've had no way am I going there. You know, it doesn't matter what they've said, doesn't matter what money they throw at me. I'm not going there. And invariably, it's normally because they haven't, the interviewers just haven't added that little bit of detail. They haven't taken it one step further and actually gone into the specifics of this is what we're doing, this is how we can progress you, this is how we look after you, that kind of thing. So it's just such an easy mistake to make, but by not making it, you're making everyone's life so much easier. And ultimately, you will hire the best people. because of that.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to be the biggest firm. You don't have to be the firm even offering the most money.
No.
It's the firm that people say, do you know what, I'm really, really buying into that growth. I'm really buying into this. I'm really buying into that career progression and that training, and etc. So, no, it's really, really worth doing. And then the final one, and this is a real key one, because again, I've done recruitment for 10 and a half years. Sin, I know you've been in it for quite a while yourself as well. Years and years ago, everyone just wanted to know the money. Right? That's all people cared about. It was the number.
Yeah.
Now, particularly the last year, people sat at home, people are taking stock. What do they actually want from their employers? What do they actually want in terms of benefits, in terms of working arrangements, in terms of anything else that they can do? So this is where a little bit goes a real, real long way. So Sin, again, what are the key things that you have people saying to you that is now a must, whereas a couple of years ago, you could kind of take it or leave it?
Yeah, I mean, the first one is we're all sort of saying flexible working, remote working, but you need to be a bit more specific about what that actually look like. So, you could say to me, it's flexible working. I want you 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. That technically isn't the most flexible setup, because that might not work for me. If you're saying you're fully flexible, say how flexible you can be. Or if I say to you in an interview, I need it to be these days, can you accommodate that? Let's be clearer on what flexible working looks like. Let's be clearer on what remote working looks like, how often you'll do that, those sort of things. A lot of conversations recently for me have come up a lot about mental health, mental well-being, like what is the employer doing to support this? What things do you have in place? What perks do you have in place? And so talk about those. I mean, like, I know we've been mentioning about Alexander Lloyd having mental well-being days where we literally just have the day off to do something that we enjoy. It brings us a bit of calm and happiness. That's a great thing to talk about. Diversity and inclusion is huge. Like, what is your business doing to help with diversity and inclusion? What do you have in place? What does your culture look like? Those sort of things are suddenly way at the top of the list before someone talks to me about money now. And I think that's become quite apparent for a lot of people in the last year. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. And I'm going to include a link when I send this around. I'm going to include a link to our podcast series, which covers a lot of these points. So this is a shameless plug for people to go and check that out as well. But we talk about engagement. We talk about in diversity and inclusion. We talk about these key topics with industry leaders, and it all comes down to what you just said. You could offer more money, but if you don't care about their mental well-being, if you haven't taken steps to address it, if you haven't taken steps to address, perhaps doing some work in the community, being a bit philanthropic and, looking at, you can leave an hour early on a Friday. Well, that probably worked, 5 years ago. It doesn't work anymore. And I'm not saying that everyone wants Friday off, but what else comes with it? Do you offer mental well-being kind of initiatives? What about financial well-being? Do you actually pay attention to how your staff are getting on? I think a lot of people have assumed that during COVID everyone's saving money. I haven't, because I've got 3 children. They're very expensive to keep them entertained. It's probably cost me more than whatever my commute costs that I'm saving my money on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We've been speaking to people about all the amazing things that so many firms have done, the virtual pub quizzes, the Q&A sessions with celebrities and business leaders and icons and scientists and some incredible stuff like that. The yoga classes, Pilates. Do you offer a gym membership? Is it just a token gym membership, or do you actually do like support kind of bubbles? Where you get people together and you can all go for a run together, or you can all go and do weights together, or you can all go and do stuff like that. It's worth its weight in gold, genuinely. And I'm not saying that to be a recruiter and say you've got to offer this plus the max money so we make the most money. It's not that. It really isn't. This is me saying, look, if you're going to hire someone, or if you're going to stick your neck out and say we are hiring and we want to go and attract the best people, these bits should help. Get all your ducks in a row. In terms of being specific, in terms of, being credible. This is what we can offer you, both the work stuff and the non-work stuff, and then, back it up, because I hate to say it, but the amount of phone calls we get from people 3 months, 6 months into a job where they ring us and say, wasn't what I was told it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I feel horrendous whenever that's on us. Thankfully it's not a common occurrence for our placements.
Yeah.
But it is shocking how many people kind of promise the earth and not delivered. So it's worth taking some of these on board. So yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Sinitta, for joining us. Thank you
for having me.
For watching. If you've got this far, thank you very much. Like I say, check out our YouTube playlist. There's a lot of good stuff on there. We're going to be running a part 2 next week, which is all going to talk around how to find a job as we come out of COVID. So, thank you for joining us. Take care, stay safe, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon.